was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina today, and I thought I would visit my friend Miranda, who I met at a clinic last weekend at her job at Highline Tack. So come with me. Well, I can tell you what I love already. There is an easy drive around for trailers, and I will say I love that barn. But so when you come, you'll just drive around between the ring and the tack shop and pull in over there. What cute horses. Like, super cute.
Hi. Oh, you look completely different. I can't recognize anyone when they're not wearing their like riding outfit. Is that a Gucci?
It is a Gucci.
Is it really a Gucci?
Yes, it came from a Sotheby's auction. One of our just people up in France that send us used saddles found it, and we ended up with it.
How cool. Well, we have a lot of questions from Instagram. My gosh.
I'm excited to talk about it.
I'm a Libra. This is hard. So Miranda.
Yes.
From Highline Tack.
Yes.
I said I was going to get overwhelmed. Where would you start with me? How would you even start pulling saddles?
So where we would start is, obviously jumper dressage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then like the freak thing is if I had like a halfling or a short back pony, you might try to talk me into potentially an all purpose, right?
Yes, if that's what it calls for. We also are brand stockists for Black Country. So we can, if a horse is super duper funky, we can order a custom one.
Okay.
We have a few in store, and then we also get them in used. That's my general go-to for like our really, really wide horses because they have the Freedom Hoop Tree that you can make work for them.
I think the wide fit is the hardest to fit, although I feel like the higher wither, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like what I see in my industry is the high withers is the least fitted correctly.
Yes.
By most people.
It's the high wither, but it's not just the high withers that are hard. It's the high withers that are wide. For the wide high wither, you got to find something that sits up enough but gives them enough clearance on the side. So that's the trickiest part.
Let's learn about hunt seat more than dressage.
That's what we have a lot of.
Hello, my name is Karen. I am plus size. I am a size 18. If I come in here, you're going to look at my height, which is 5'6" with longer legs, shorter torso, and not want to know my butt size, right?
No.
And so normally I'm 17 and a half, 18. Is that what you would put me? Oh, but the hunt seat might be different than the dressage.
It depends on the brand. For dressage, I would probably put you in an 18 just because it's deeper. For a flatter seat, it depends on the brand. For like a Vitae, you would probably be in a 17 and a half, but for some of the ones that fit a little bit smaller, you would probably be more in an 18.
Perfect. We're going to talk about the deeper also. So we're talking about knee rolls, we're talking about deeper, we're talking about fit, we're talking about all of it. Here we go. You lead the way. This is going to be a 2 to 3 part video at 10-minute capacity, probably anyway, but you lead the way. Okay. The longer I'm in here, the more questions I think about. Like, people always ask what to put them on because also if they sit for a long period of time, the flocking is wool or synthetic, or care panels, which is air.
It can smush.
Right, and it'll smush. So
we do these for our wire racks.
Show you what these are.
So these are yoga mats that we basically just cut up and put on with like zip ties to keep them on. But so this gives us the padding so they can sit on the wire racks without it indenting into.
Also, fun fact, Mattis pads are made from the same material as yoga mats. Just saying. So the Devaku is what we're gonna sit in?
Yes, and so this is a longer flap. It's forward, but it has a lower point of forwardness. So since she's got kind of a longer femur, this will kind of give you more room down this way. So the point of forwardness is not gonna be up here, it's down here.
So when we're talking forward flap, we're talking hunt seat saddle.
Yes.
Okay, meaning forward, right? All right. Oh, that's nice. So the saddle, in theory, should not hinder us. It should aid us, right?
Yep.
And so when we're doing hunt seat, we want to be able to have our leg wrapped around, not a death grip, to help us manage up and over a fence and or no stirrup November. You can ride dressage in hunt seat saddle, and if the hunt seat saddle fits your horse, please ride in the hunt seat saddle.
I second that.
You also don't have to drop your stirrups down this long. Ride in it how you normally ride in it. Okay, so we're going to talk about me with this saddle. I don't hate it.
I kind of love it.
So what are we looking for?
So-
because, okay, I'll let you talk.
The big thing we're looking for is how does it fit in the knee? Because that is the biggest thing with hunt seat saddles.
People either want to be here
Yes.
or here.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This, I like this personally.
Yeah.
So it's got this forward longer block, so your femur sits nicely on it, your leg is going nicely into the block, you're not reaching for it.
This is the block.
Yes. So kind of hike your knee up. So when the knee is too forward like that, the heel comes forward in front of you, and that's how you end up in a chair seat. Chair seat. So, but with this, you just kind of go nicely into the block. The right fitting saddle should almost feel like it's like coming home. Your leg just goes nicely into
Right.
it. You shouldn't have to force it. If you're forcing it, that means something's wrong.
And no pain. There should be
Yes.
no pain. I'm also going to make it show the front also. Again, forward over, not in the knee block. And so I always tell my riders, find the knee block and then let your
Yeah.
leg, I want like the top part of my leg to be against the knee block.
Yep.
Not like pushing into it, correct? Perfect.
Yeah, you want to kind of nicely smooth
Drape.
into it.
It should
Yes.
easily drape.
Yes.
Right. All right, perfect. So we're gonna go on to how would I know if it didn't fit? So let's put me in a saddle that I'm not gonna fit into
Yeah.
well. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Here we go. There's so many. Oh my God. I'm gonna let her hold the saddle she's holding. What is this, Heather?
That is a lab panel.
I want to feel like it is for stability on the horses.
Yes.
I don't see that often.
So this is going to work for a very specific horse. It's not going to work for like a more fine bone thoroughbred, but for your wider bodied warm bloods, it helps a lot. So when you look underneath it, it's got a very wide panel. So this is going to take up more surface area on the horse's back, disperse weight, and do all those good things. You don't.
keep from rolling.
Yes. So it sits right on that long
It's like a dual wheel truck.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And it gives you just that extra added stability in the back. It's called a D3D panel. In Devaku land, different brands have different names for it, but the wider panel is kind of becoming a trend.
This is unreal. Like I didn't notice that, but it is
Yeah.
super stable.
It's like a good width out there.
yeah. So the ones that are always rolling,
Mhm.
your happy crosses.
It kind of gives you that extra
Yeah,
added.
that is great. It's like a dual wheel
Stability.
truck. Okay,
Yeah.
well we're moving
Why
on.
would
Would
you
you go to a saddle fitter, not a brand dealer? And I don't mind a brand rep
Yeah.
if you've got that brand, because that brand
Yeah.
rep is going to know that brand. I've talked to many saddle fitters. They're like, please don't hand me X saddle. They're really hard to work on.
Yes.
Right. We are at a saddle Taj Mahal. They do represent several brands. However, she promises she's going to fit your horse, not the brand.
Pinky swear.
Yeah, because then I'm going to call her and be like, why did you? Right?
Because then I'm going to have problems with trainers.
Because it's more important that your saddle fits your damn horse.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I can't fix it if the saddle doesn't fit. All right.
Exactly.
So we already talked in the last video, we're not bashing CWD, we're just using a CWD because I like the feel of a CWD if I was going over a fence.
Yep.
Or if I was doing hunters. I said I wouldn't probably like it if I wanted security over a fence. We learned about wither clearance and padding. We can't answer your padding questions. We have to feel out your saddle and your horse. Same with me. I also can't answer your bit questions, but I can send you to someone who can let you borrow a bit and see if your horse likes it. I can't answer that question. Your horse answers that question. All right, so this is hunt seat stuff. We're talking on a forward fold. Forward fold is this flap right here. If I were to put it on the horse, the saddle, most people, God love them, they come in, they put the pad on up here, they put the saddle on here, and then they crank the girth. And I go, but it's in front of the wither.
Yes.
It's in front of the shoulder point, which to me on this horse is going to be right here. However, on a hunt seat saddle, I'm going to let Miranda talk here in a second. So this is the shoulder point, and a hunt seat saddle, it's okay.
It flexes.
Yes.
So, why is it okay? This is your tree point right here. So everything in front of the tree point bends and moves. Once you get to the tree point, that's where it gets stiff. So that's where the tree kicks in, which is a firm object. So you want the tree point to be about 2 to 3 fingers behind the shoulder. And that's where your saddle should go. The girth, if it's on the majority of horses, it'll tell you if it's in the right place, if it's about a hand behind the elbow. And then you want it sitting the back of the saddle in front of the 18th rib. Go to Highline to see more information about that.
Okay, that I completely agree with, because if it's behind the 18th rib, it's also on some pretty significant organs.
Kidneys.
And or that's where you're slamming. I'm not gonna pay for the saddle bit, right?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
I don't care if you've got a loose girth and you put your hunt seat saddle on like this. It seems to be a hunt seat thing because everybody and their brother says, and I quote, what? It will slide back.
Which means it's too narrow if it's sliding back.
Also means your girth, like,
Your girth, yeah.
why don't, anyway, I'm not gonna question hunt seat folks. I'm just gonna tell you, we don't play that way. And dressage, don't start the dressage saddle up here because it also won't move. And there's a thing going around that's new. Again, I'm 40, so we didn't have this before. It's called kissing spine. And if I'm
Every horse has it now.
yeah, it's just out there. It's just out there. Now, how do I make a kissing spine horse go well? Well, I'm going to do it long and low. I'm going to make sure it's relaxing. It's chewing over the bit. I'm going to let it take its time to relax into the bit. I'm going to listen to it if it's not. I'm not going to say it's bad behavior unless it's a halfling. It might be bad behavior. But I'm going to make sure it fits. But moreover, I'm going to make sure that it fits really, really well. I'm going to make sure she tells me it fits really, really well. Right? So we're going to talk about kissing spine and or spinal issues. I want to make sure I can see through it. So again, I can't get my hand in here, right? That's not going to be right for my kissing spine, and I should be able to get my hand everywhere. Except under here. A lot of people check under here. I want that snug.
We don't want, so we want this, so we want the bottom of the panel to have consistent pressure.
Consistent pressure.
We don't want it to be too heavy on the back, so we don't want it pinching between the panel and the back, and we don't want it gapping. We just want a nice consistent pressure.
So if I'm on, hold on, we're gonna move. If I am on this horse's back, to me this is not gonna be ideal for a horse with kissing spine.
Yeah.
Because it is rubbing directly against the spine.
Yes.
Also preventing the back to come up, which is really what we want to have happen for a kissing spine horse.
Yeah.
So what are we also looking at? Is too wide of a channel something we want to stay away from?
Yeah, so we want the right size channel. We don't want it too wide, we don't want it too narrow, because a too wide saddle is almost as bad as a too narrow saddle, because a too wide saddle, especially in the case of a kissing spine horse, is going to sit on the spine. And then if it's too wide, it's gonna cause the saddle to roll because it doesn't have good purchase on the long SMS.
What if it keeps sliding forward just as bad? Because in theory, if it keeps sliding forward, all my weight's down now.
Yes, all your weight is up in the middle. So,
and nothing's fitting correctly.
And nothing's fitting correctly, because if the saddle's not in the right spot, it can't fit. So
Can't do its job.
can't do its job.
Okay. Yeah, that's new and
Yeah.
it's common.
It's common.
Okay, so Karen and Mindset Equestrian part 1 and part 2 of this video with Miranda at Highline Tack said something about padding. Well, what if my saddle doesn't fit right? Can I just pad it up?
Depends on how it doesn't fit right. So if it's too wide, yes, you can pad it.
With the kissing
for the
spine.
most part. With the kissing spine, then it gets a little bit hairy.
Because you'd rather have cush though.
You would rather have cush than no cush, so
Right.
you can pad it up. I personally like Amatis because they have a really good defined channel. Thin Line has some good ones as well. Winderins are becoming popular. There are a lot of good pads out there, so you can pad that up.
My least favorite is gel, just
Agreed.
in case you want to know. Because a gel pad, if it's pushy here, that gel's going to distribute away from that push and still push down. Hold on, she's getting props. Hold on.
You can kind of
but
see.
this is my favorite kind of gel pad.
Yes, this is the lesser of the evils.
Okay.
However, it shows us what we need to show
It's
it.
still jelly. Okay,
It's-
all right.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
not going to name the brand.
So this one, when you sit it on the horse's back, it doesn't actually pick itself up, it just flops. So we want a pad that, like a saddle, has a channel so the horse can pick their back up into it.
Oh, I like that. What do we use that pad for? So I use that a lot with like an Arab or a saddlebred or something
Yep.
weird. And actually, it came from the saddlebreds originally, and then Charlotte Desjardins took it over. But it helps to prevent movability.
Yep.
However, it can irritate the out of your horse, especially if they're bred horses. So sit in it first, and if they go like get off of it, it doesn't work.
I also like putting this on top of a Mattis or a Thin Line, so you can
Yeah.
use it as an extra layer of like squish.
So what I'm talking about is a lot of people put it directly on and then put their tack on so the tack doesn't shift a lot. There are certain breeds of horses, it shifts a lot, they like this, and it can provide cush. And there's some breeds of horses that say, get that off or I'll get you off.
Plus, it's a fun fidget toy.
There's that. Okay, moving on. She got excited about surge panels, and I said, I actually don't know. I don't know, but I have this channel so that we can all learn together. What is a surge panel?
So this is a surge panel. It's felt. So basically, it's a lined
Oh my God,
panel.
it's felt.
Yes, it's a lined. So the panel, instead of leather at the bottom, has felt on it.
It's felt.
So
Is it hot?
No, it actually conducts heat better. Because wool.
Does it smell?
No. It works. I promise.
No, I'm not. No disrespect.
It basically conducts heat better, and instead of leather, which tends to kind of absorb the heat, it dispels the heat.
Why do I feel like it's like the original? Okay. I feel like the original saddles have some felts because that was also a natural material. It's a natural material.
It also, the other kind of positive of it is going off of our gel pads with it helping with shifting. This will also help with shifting because this is going to make better contact with your horse's back.
How much money is this?
They're actually not super expensive. The brands you see it in are not the super expensive brands. You see them mostly in kind of your Britishy type brands because they work really well on your round
because the
ponies.
Brits tend to really, they know how to do the round ponies, and they're all about fibers.
Yep.
They have sheep and shit up
They
there.
have shit. Yeah.
Okay. I want to know about the saddle. What is the saddle?
So this is a Black Country.
This is the one you keep saying.
Yes, this is a Black Country Venishi. These are really great for a lot of different kinds of
This
horses.
is a dressage saddle. What do we call this flap? Is it a mono
It is a
flap?
mono flap.
It's a mono
They
flap.
do their billets externally, so that's what those are.
So these are the girth billets. And then you'll put your stirrups through here.
Yep.
Mono flap, meaning you don't have to lift one to take one, and no, this will not pinch you. It better
No,
not.
it doesn't. It once it straps down, it does not move. It doesn't. It actually feels really cool when you're riding in it. It looks a little
cool.
interesting, but it's really fun to ride in.
I'm obsessed with the saddle. This is, what did you call it?
It's a Black Country Venishi.
Backcountry Venishi, and what's special about it?
It has surge panel.
Which is felt.
Yes.
The whole thing is felt. And the more I look at it, the more I like it. So it's a British company, she says, of course, because I am British in my core. And if anyone in Britain wants me to come over, I will. Just pay for it.
They're made in a town called Walsall, right on the border with Wales.
Oh my God, yeah, I'll do that. We'll go together.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I want to do a little bit more on is the front end. Like, to me, that is wither clearance all day.
Yes. So they have a lot of
You can
different
set
kinds
it down
of.
if you want.
Oh yeah.
We'll move. We're moving. I taught Miranda in a clinic last weekend. I was like, oh my God, I follow you a little bit. But I wanted to come here because we can really answer a ton of saddle questions. We have discussed size of booty versus size of femur. In the prior videos, we did talk about kissing spine. In the prior videos, we did talk about half pads. This is video 5, so you're invested. If you're watching the whole way through, I'm gonna try to post them sequentially. This is super fun. Okay, so as wide as it looks, it's still
got some structure. So this is their more A-frame tree. So
A-frame versus U.
versus hoop.
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 Oh, jeez. So Gypsy Banner.
Yes.
Frisian.
So you can really see the
Oh,
difference.
the Frisians are tricky.
Yes, the
They're
Frisians are tricky.
tricky.
The
Oh, no,
Frisians are real tricky.
okay, all right.
So you can see this one kind of comes up more. It's more A-framey. It comes to a point. This one does not come to a discernible point. It is a circle.
That's so funny because if you had left this here, I would have been like, no, it's not. But you bring this back.
And you
Holy,
see.
you have to see this. That sucker is wide, like flat wide. Like there, oh, that's nice.
It's lovely. Do you want to sit in it?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I want to sit in this one first. We talked about this earlier. Mono flap. Oh, why is she spitting the sticky down?
Because
Because
it's sticky.
okay. So
I
I
want you
do
to go
like
like that.
this. We talked about this in the video prior about the half pads. This would not be a saddle that fits this horse.
No,
This moves too much.
it is too wide.
If you can do that with your horse, don't ride it that day. All right, so, oh, it moves. All right.
That's why I put the sticky pad down so it
This
won't
is
slide
why
off.
pudgy girls always worry. Because, by the way, a thin girl would have trouble getting up here.
Everyone has trouble getting in that saddle.
But when you're heavy, you think, oh my God, the heavy girl. Okay, so I do love the knee block, but I feel like it's shifting left. So either this horse is really weak left.
The fiberglass horse, yeah. It slipped a little bit.
interesting.
Right.
Okay.
Here, kind of hoist
But it was a
yourself.
little bit kind of
Yeah.
crooked anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're also gonna see me, because I like the way these feel, because it's a soft leg,
Yeah.
long leg. We're gonna move you. I'm gonna move you. Hold on. She's gonna move you. Okay, so I think I very rarely have an opinion when I get on a horse because I'm usually working on the horse. If the saddle like somewhat fits, like if there's weather clearance. So don't ask my personal opinion, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. But I like the way that my leg hangs without
I do
feeling
too.
like it's braced back.
It's in front, your heel is in
Yeah.
line with your hip instead of your heel being behind you.
Yes, I don't want that. This, I want to do for canter, pirouette, half pass, shoulder in if I need to, and pee off. And for the pee off, I want to be able to move and elongate, and Q. If my leg is already back, I can only go so far. And I'm straining, and there comes a point when my leg's too far back that I'm gonna start to tilt forward, and all the weight's gonna go on this pommel. So I like a soft leg. I'm gonna let Miranda talk at some point. I actually like the seat. Most girls are gonna think they're too heavy, but to me this thing fits.
And that's a 17.5. It does fit. So why do I think it fits? Her leg looks gorgeous. It's a very straight flap, but it's got this very kind of soft, very little bit forward angled knee block. So her leg just goes nicely into it. It's hanging nicely. Her heel is in line with her hip, which is what we're really looking for. And then so looking at the seat, she's in it. If she is in the deepest point of the saddle, if you were above the deepest point of the saddle, that's where I would say the saddle's too small. But because you're in the deepest point of the saddle, you're comfortable, the horse is comfortable, everyone's comfortable.
I don't
I'm
feel the
happy.
pommel
Yeah.
within me, and I feel like I could easily move if I wanted to. Yeah, so I would go put this on a horse to
Yeah.
see if it then fit once we got on the horse. Speaking of the deepest part, I used to tell people, I try not to bust anything. This is also why I don't wear belts, because I'm going to get on your $7,000, this might not be $7,000 saddle and go to get off, and I'm going to go with a belt. So that's my fear of belts. I used to tell people that the pin needed to be where the deepest part was, and it needed to be balanced, not rolled forward and not rolled too far back. So I think when she was saying when I was sitting in the deepest part, I wasn't sitting on the cantle.
Yep.
So I wouldn't bounce off the cantle, and I wasn't hurting myself sitting here.
Yep, your sweet spot is about right here. And this part of the saddle should be right over the horse's sternum because that's the strongest part of the rib cage.
So I am a heavy girl. I'm sure you get heavy clients.
Yep, I'm a heavy girl too.
Because honest to God, like we support every rider.
Yes.
Small, large, uneven, whatever. Tell us what you are. But my butt looked heavy. Probably won't look great in photos. But actually, it might look great in photos. It just won't look good in comparison to the models.
Yes.
Right? And then my gut hung over a little bit.
A little bit.
I would still probably be able to actively ride this horse, no problem.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't look like the models in the photo.
Yeah, and that's fine. You look like you, and you is beautiful.
Right, and so I should buy the saddle that fits me, fits the horse, and then learn to love ourselves. And maybe we should push for some of these brands to allow some of the heavier set girls to be some models, so that we're not judging ourselves on how our bodies fit in these saddles versus how our bones fit in these saddles. Because I liked this.
Bones-wise, it looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, okay, because you don't want to turn somebody away, and you also don't want to put them in a size too big.
No, because if it's too big, you're gonna move around in the saddle. So you want to sit in the saddle that's gonna be too big for you?
Do you have one that's going to be too big?
Oh, yes, I do.
Let's do it. So this is a 19.5 Voltaire.
Yes.
We're talking like 7-foot rider.
Probably, yeah. You would need to be really, really tall to fit in this.
Sorry. The inside of it is like blue and white.
Yes, all Voltaires have that accent.
Okay, all right, so here we go. Up we go. Oh yeah, no. Oh my God, is this what little people feel? Smaller people, like kids. Yeah, I feel like everything would be a job.
Yes, because you're trying to hold yourself
So
in
I'm
place.
gonna have to push into my stirrups because there's not the saddle's not doing its job.
And you end up, when the saddle is too big, like if you were to go ride in this, you would end up bracing into the block to try to keep yourself in place.
Yeah.
And then you would end up slipping back and
Yeah.
forward and all around. Yeah.
And or riding, I see a lot of this when I'm judging, that the leg is too long and not correctly in the knee block.
Yep. And then, so when your knee is behind the knee block that much, everyone does it. You subconsciously creep forward with your knee until you're in a chair seat.
And point your toes down because you're still looking for the or strain.
Or strain. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so this saddle's too big for me.
Yeah.
By far.
By far.
Okay. What are some other questions? Let's think. So we talked in one of the videos about how hunt seat people put the flap in front of the shoulder point. And I want to be clear that dressage saddle, she's going to throw one on here for me. I'm not going to lie. I know what this saddle is. It's one of my favorites. We're going to talk about it in video 6. But right now we're talking about shoulder placement on your dressage saddle.
Yes, so for your hunt seat saddles, the tree point is a little bit further back generally. The tree point for dressage saddles sits pretty in line with the front of the saddle. So you want the entire saddle to be behind that shoulder. So with a dressage saddle, you should be able to run your hand. This is where our shoulder would be on the horse. Behind and be able to get your fingers under the panel, but not much more. Same rule where you want the tree point to be about 2 fingers behind the scapula, behind the shoulder. And this saddle helps us out a little bit because it kind of cuts back. So you can see it's got a slight angle this way. So it's gonna sit away from the shoulder naturally because it's built for horses with bigger shoulders.
And customs usually have like, this is massive.
Yes, it has, the customs in general have, as she gets her arm stuck, they have very high pommels, which allows for your horse to really, especially our higher withered friends, to really lift into the saddle and have lots of room and clearance.
Yeah, like it's, you can definitely, and then on both sides, she can put her whole arm through there. So ideal for maybe possibly Kissing Spine.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the brand, but this type of freedom.
Yes.
Okay. Right now we have a County saddle in front of,
Custom.
we have a custom saddle.
Sorry.
To be fair, like there's a Jeffries, there's a Jeffers, there's a CWD, there's
County, there's Black Country, there's...
yeah, I really like the Black Country.
Yeah.
And then there was the first one, Devaku. So, you know, if you know me. Okay, so we're in the Custom. Custom is one of my favorite to ride in.
They're comfy.
They're comfy.
Yeah.
A lot of saddle fitters don't like to work on some of them.
They can be a little bit of a you know what to work on
To get
because
into.
It's difficult to get to the flocking holes, but that's our problem, not your problem.
Yeah, I love them. They've been good. I also love a County. Doesn't mean it's going to work for your horse. If you're struggling, please come to a saddle shop and try. There is a ring out here. There's like cross ties. I don't know if you can go in the stalls.
The stalls have horses in them generally, but we get you set up. We got you.
One of the questions when I asked online about what do you want to know about saddle fit was the knee blocks. We didn't really go through a whole lot with the hunt seat. We just discussed like, you know, we want your knee to kind of fall. We want your knee to kind of fall in here. I need to quit doing that with my fingers. The custom has an outside knee block. Sometimes
Yes.
it's not the only brand that does, meaning this knee block is on the outside versus being hidden by the flap. Is this a mono flap also?
It is technically a single flap, which I really like because it gives you the mono flap feel, but it's easier to work on
Now, why do people like the mono flap where it's just one, not two?
because it feels closer contact.
Sorry. If you've watched the other videos, I've broken lots of stuff. All right. So I like both the Counties and the Customs because I can put my arms through here. They generally fit really well. They generally fit a rider well. You either like them or you don't. Now, here's where it really gets tricky. A lot of people can order these from catalogs.
Depending on the model, some are not.
And so you really, it's really, like, I love a catalog, but they might not fit you and your horse. And just because you rode in one that's broken in from some dude somewhere, the new ones might not fit just right. So
Yeah.
let's chat about the knee blocks. I am 5'6", I am 270 something pounds, size 18. My femur's normal, probably.
Normal to a little bit long.
Do I want a short knee block or a long knee block?
You want a short knee block.
Okay, why?
Because you want the knee block, especially when you have a longer femur, you want the knee block to hit you up high and then go away. Because if you have too much knee block, it's gonna get in the way of things. So if you have, especially if you have a bigger thigh, a smaller knee block is gonna be your friend. If you have too big of a knee block, it's gonna push your thigh behind you and push your leg behind you.
I'm gonna sit in it.
If
I can. This is also the problem. They usually, Counties and Customs, have a high cantle, and so, oh my god, so getting in them is hard, and sometimes they come in the buffalo leather,
So they're sticky.
so you can't really get in. So I would put my leg here.
So if anything, I think this knee block is actually too long for you.
I was just thinking the same. I was like, this doesn't feel.
No, I would want it higher. So I would want your knee block. Just in general, the front end of the saddle is a little too high for her, the pommel and the knee block. I want everything to shift up and for her to be able to sit deeper. So the knee block should really be hitting her like where her hand is right now. And you can see, I'm gonna move the camera.
Yeah.
You can see that her leg is coming behind her. So she's gonna brace against that, and then she's not gonna actually be able to get her leg on her horse.
And my leg's gonna hurt.
And your leg is gonna hurt.
Because this is gonna push my hip back and not let my leg get where it needs to be. I should be able to soften muscles, and I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna be fighting the tack.
You're gonna be fighting it the whole time.
That's interesting. Yeah, that doesn't fit at all.
Yeah.
The seat fits.
And kind of, I don't know. I'm not in love with it. I think it's because of what's happening in the front. It's not letting the seat fit the way it should, and it's actually pushing you a little bit behind. So notice she fit into that 17.5 Black Country. This is an 18.5.
No.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking it was like a 17.
Nope. Seat size does not matter.
Oh, right, because it also, does it have a narrow twist?
It does, but as it gets deeper,
Yeah, but, so deepness is this, right?
this to this.
Like if I were to skateboard,
Yes.
right? And so this is dressage and that is Huntsy, right? That was also a question somebody had for deep versus flat. If I want to jump, I don't want the cantle getting in my way of keeping my leg straight and being able to maneuver everything else but my leg. Because if the cantle hits me, I'm gonna
Push forward.
and that's not really what we want to do. So the cantle should be something that I can kind of soften into and not hurt my lower back when I'm sitting on a dressage horse. But it shouldn't be something I can brace against on a dressage horse. I should be able to like just feel hugged or cushed, right?
Yep.
And also have the freedom to move my hips.
Yes.
And this one doesn't do that. That's why I thought it was smaller. Just because it's high.
Just because it's high.
And most people feel really, really like safety belted in.
Yeah, like almost. I like to compare it to when you have a lap bar on like a roller coaster, and how you feel like you can't go anywhere. That's what a really deep, well-fitting dressage saddle will feel like.
Which also is what I feel like when I need to abort and get off your horse, and I can't because of your cantle.
That's the downside.
Pummeling so hard. Yeah, so you're only as good as your girth is tight, because saddles like this, you can't really get out of.
You can't. No, and some people don't like that feel. It's completely based off of preference. There are people that love it. There's people that hate it. There's people that are indifferent to it. It's a very much a preference game for saddles.
How often should you be cleaning your saddle?
You should be cleaning your saddle, depends on what you're cleaning it with, honestly. You should be cleaning your saddle, like doing a deep clean about twice a month. You should be wiping off your saddle after almost every ride. Doing
Just
a light,
the surface area?
everywhere. Just doing a quick wipe off everywhere, just like with a damp cloth. And then about once a week, break out the saddle soap and clean it and condition it. And then about once a month to every couple of months, do a super duper deep clean and really get your toothbrush out, get into all the cracks and crevices, and get all the dirt out.
What about under?
You should do under, because that's where the horse sweats. So
So some saddle brands have specific saddle soap.
yes.
Do you have to use that saddle soap?
No, you do not. You can use whatever saddle soap you want. My personal preference is for Ethics, and I really like the cream soap. I personally don't particularly like glycerin-based products. They can be great, however, they dry saddles out. So I like a cream soap, so it still cleans, but it moisturizes it as it cleans, and then you top that off with conditioner so everything stays soft and happy.
Dye? Do we dye?
We dye if you want to. It's difficult and it's gonna rub off on your breeches. A faded saddle will honestly 9 times out of 10 end up looking better in the long run than one that is incorrectly dyed. If you're gonna dye, I'd take it to a professional that knows what they're doing.
I'm gonna tell you a little secret. There are 2 Olympians right now with YouTube videos out about how they put sticky stuff on their pants.
Yep.
One was the master class at Devon last year, and the other is world ranked. She had a baby. How about that? What do you think about the sticky stuff on the saddles?
Go for it. Just make sure you're cleaning it maybe a little bit more to get the sticky stuff off, because we do get saddles in that are like crusted in sticky spray and it's just kind of gross. So Yeah, it builds up over time, so just make sure you're cleaning more if you're using sticky spray. But I have nothing against sticky spray. If it makes you feel more comfortable and confident, go for it.
How often should we be washing our pads?
Ideally after every time you use them. If they're not too crusty, let them dry and ride them again. But a crusty pad can make your horse lose hair on their back and cause some issues with rubbing and mold and grime. So
And half pads go in the dryer with tennis balls?
no. You air dry half pads, and if they have fleece on them, you need to comb them when you clean them.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna put that in the dryer. Oh, I've got one of those that's really sticky somebody gave me.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. What do we do with that? She said cold water, dishwater?
I just hose it off.
Okay. All right.
I hose it off. If it's really nasty, I'll take some like Dawn dish soap and like scrub it in there and then just hose it. It's plastic. They're rubber. It's not gonna hurt anything.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're cleaning. We've got the knee blocks. Is there anything else we need to know? I don't know. We got the pads. A lot of people still are on the old impression of your saddle pad will tell you how the saddle fits, and the sweat marks sometimes will tell you how the saddle fits. How accurate is the sweat?
Very inaccurate. Please don't send me
Inaccurate.
pictures of your.
I get them a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you anything.
I get them a lot. I don't mind it because I know that I have a problem that I can possibly fix.
Well,
I think we got. What we were chatting about was saddle pads. A lot of people, and we did this years ago, where we would look at the saddle pads or sweat marks on the horse's back, and we'd be like, the saddle doesn't fit. And to me, that's a me problem as a trainer. There's something that's kind of voided. I still want to chat with you about it. Is it rubbing? Is it voided?
It can be, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. So people, when you send someone a dirty saddle pad picture, it doesn't really tell you anything.
I wonder if we can make money off those.
Maybe.
Yeah. Might get us to
you never
Europe.
know. OnlyFans. So a saddle pad, yes, if it is parts where it's dry and parts where it's damp, that can mean maybe there's too much pressure and the horse isn't able to sweat. It can also mean that the horse has had past saddles that didn't fit it and deadened the nerves there, so it just doesn't really sweat there anymore.
Okay.
It could mean that maybe your horse just didn't get all that sweaty and it didn't sweat in one place for some reason. It could mean that your horse is over sweating in some places. It could really mean anything. If you don't have the whole picture, sweat marks and a dirty saddle pad don't really mean anything. So it's the whole picture you got to look at, not just seeing, oh gosh, there's a different pattern on my pad, let me panic. Stop and think about it for 2 seconds.
Same with me. When I am teaching at a new farm with a new clinic, I always think about where's the hole, what do we need to work on, where's the tension, and usually that is where the horse sweats the most. So normally that means if I've got a really tight withered horse and I get them super supple, their wither shoulder area is going to be drenched and the rest of them won't be.
Yep.
Or the right side's really tight. The right side's going to be
It's gonna be
drenched,
sweaty more.
and
Yeah.
the left side won't be. So sweat marks don't panic most of us, but I want to see them. You're not an anti-sweat mark photo.
I'm not anti-sweat mark, I'll take a look at it
Yeah.
as long as I can see the whole picture and that there's, see what else might be going on to cause the change in the sweat mark.
That's one of those documentation things where, like, the Mindset Equestrian journal that you can find in my link in bio and or Amazon, that's one of those things that journal is set up for, so you can bullet point that, put a pin in it, and remember how the sweat marks were today. Maybe that's how this one horse sweats.
Yes.
Maybe it is a problem. Maybe if the saddle doesn't fit in a few months, maybe it was starting
Maybe
to
then let's talk to someone about it, but it's not a reason to
panic.
panic.
It's not
Never
cause for
panic.
panic.
There generally is not such thing as a saddle fitting emergency. There are saddles that don't fit, there are saddles that are causing problems, unless it's something that's severely broken. Generally,
Oh, yeah, broken tree. Show me how to tell a broken tree.
right, so a broken tree. This is where you panic.
Yeah.
A broken tree, if the tree is broken, it is gonna flex too much. So this saddle flexes some, and there's a longer video about this on the Highline TikTok. But so it flexes some, and especially with your longer, deeper saddles, there is gonna be some flex to them, but it's not tacoing. If the pommel was coming up here, that would mean it's broken. I actually don't think I have a broken one to show you,
That's good.
but
Yeah, we don't want a broken one. Broken one, no, you can't pad up a broken one. Broken
Nope.
one, bye-bye. It's gone. Don't sell it at Attack Exchange either.
yeah, so when a saddle tree is broken, it's gonna shift inside and it can cause some really, really bad problems for your horse's back because you don't want moving pieces happening on top of a moving horse with you moving on top of it. It's just gonna cause a lot of problems with muscles.
It's still up in the air. Some studies have shown that poor saddle fit can cause worse kissing spine or Yeah. So saddle fit is really, really important.
It is.
A lot of times they won't go over a fence. They can't extend as well.
Yeah, it might be something as mild as your horse is a little uncomfortable, but it could also be as major as like your horse is not willing to jump, your horse is not willing to extend. It could be causing muscular dystrophy, like dissolving muscles. It can cause muscle to not build well. It can cause so many problems. So get your saddles checked.
Let's say I have a lesson type horse.
Yes.
Same saddle.
Mm-hmm.
How often do I want to have it looked at?
So generally,
Meaning
like,
we're doing the same workout every week.
Yes.
It's not going to be a whole lot different.
9 months to a year. Just get someone to put some eyes on it. Like, it doesn't need to be a huge thing. It doesn't need to be a whole production. You just want to get your saddle looked at by someone who's not you, to say, yes, no, this fits. Yesterday, I had one of my fitter friends, Tara Mevin, shout out, take a peek at my saddle because she was there doing body work on my pony, and I was like, hey, I can't figure this out. I think something's wrong. Can you just look at it for me, because I can't see it, because I look at him every day, so I don't see it. So Tara took a peek and she was like, yeah, he's built more muscle. You need to take the shims out of this pad and you're all good. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah, that's why another reason we like pads, the shimmable pads, we can remove them as they start to build up muscle.
Yep.
That said, there's a huge jump between training level, first level, second level, fourth level pre-St. George when it comes to dressage. There's a huge jump from basic cross rails to 2-9.
Yeah.
Huge. In muscle. At that point, I tell people, anytime the horse seems a little funky, let's feel the saddle.
Yep,
But
let's see
we're
what's
looking
going
at
on.
every 6 months minimum.
Yes.
And if you see a saddle fitter at your horse show, hey, would you mind go looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
we're
just ask us. Most of us are really nice.
not only are we gaining muscle, we're changing muscle. And that's the big thing. There's going to be a void, especially like if I have a 3-year-old. Next year, it's going to be a completely different build,
Oh, yeah.
whether I'm working it or not.
Well,
4-year-old, 5-year-old.
So for our younger horses, I would generally recommend getting your saddle checked every 3 to 6 months, because as their body changes, you're going to have to either play with pads or play with flocking to just kind of even everything out as they are going butt high to.
And it's a huge question mark.
Randomness.
Is it emotional and mental, or is it a saddle fit
Or is
issue?
it a saddle fit
Yeah.
issue? Saddle fit is generally easy-ish to rule out, so it's a box to check when you're going down your list of, okay, well, what's going on with my horse?
Well, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be back again because
Yeah.
you were super close to a lot of the barns I come to in the
Yay.
middle of North Carolina. Miranda from Highline Tack, contact Highline Tack.
Yes,
If you have any questions.
HighlineTack.com or FineLineTack.com. Miranda@HighlineTack.com is my email. Hit me up. Hit up the Highline TikTok.
Yeah, this is video 8, so this is your evening. And ask us both questions. We're open to it. There's a lot of times where I get a whole bunch of follow-up questions. I have to see things and feel things.
Yeah.
I have to see things and feel things. If I can't get the answer right away, and again, I'm happy to do that. Miranda's happy to do some overviews.
Yep.
But we will need to see it. It's not that we're trying to get money. It's that we do want to get paid for our time, but we can't help you without feeling, seeing, touching, shifting, that kind of thing.
And
So
I can help you through like virtual fittings. You just got to reach out to me and we can get it figured out.
we both do virtual.
Yeah.
Good thought. Thanks, Miranda. I just want to get one more quick tour. Oh, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.